Y'all ready? It's always interesting to see who comes for which services. So I'm glad you all were brave enough to come today. So what I want to start with is this is a series that's supposed to be fun. Yay! All right. So when Spirit gave me this, it was exciting, it was fun, it's just going to be we're just going to laugh sometime during the series. I don't know when, it's a mystery. So this whole series is about becoming great. And when you look at greatness in the dictionary, they talk about it being you're being remarkable, you're outstanding, you're powerful, you're bigger or larger than others. That makes you great. Spiritually, we look at it a little bit differently. When we look at greatness, we're looking at being a greater expression of ourselves. That light within us, that brilliance, that spirit can express through us, and we are connected with the all-powerful, the all-loving, the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent presence of God. And it moves through us. And don't you feel great when that happens? And it's just so amazing. That's the greatness we are talking about this month. Becoming more in tune, more connected, and more expressing of the greatness that's within us. Because when we're in our Christ, are you not great? Are you not the most powerful, illumined, wonderful person?
Yes.
Without comparison to anyone else. You just are. So this is our greatness. It's awesomeness. It's the best. And when you have those great moments, don't you love it? You have those great moments? Okay. In this world, we will always choose, we know we are great, we'll choose avenues that we want to express that greatness. Once we really find our greatness, we'll say, oh, I want to do it this way or that way or this way. Some of us, it's a natural talent that we have no choice. For others, we do it a little piece at a time until we grow into something that lets our greatness really shine. All right? So, Let Me Shine is going to be our little motto for the month. We will be inspired, we will be dedicated. And as we take our first step, as you all in your own world take your first step to become just a little bit more great, a little bit more empowered, the first thing that you will do is you'll be so great, you'll be so awesome, you'll be so amazing. And then you'll look around and say, did anybody see that? I don't know if everybody saw me do that. Wait a minute, I need to call somebody and tell them I did that. And this is when we deal with the ego. Our ego is the instrument that regulates our identity in the outer world. And if I'm great and you don't know it, oh, jeez, you need to know it. We need to know how great. So we have this beautiful walk, this dance that we do. We do great, but we also have this thing of checking back to see who am I in the world. So let me walk through that for just a minute with you. Ego helps us navigate matter. Our ego is important. It goes into a space and it gathers data and it bounces it about all the information you have in your brain. So you walk into this room, your ego assesses everybody. Is it safe? Is it not? Who's here? Who's not? Do they like me? Do they not? Where's my exits? What am I here for? Ego does all of that. Gathers all the data, bounces against files that you have in your brain, what you already understand and know, because the ego is trying to keep you safe. So that's a good thing, right? Ego keeps us safe. All right. The ego then tells us who we are in the material world, because the ego is about survival. It's about getting our needs met by any means. If it's about survival, it's going to get our needs met by any means. And we know when we're having those ego moments, when we are by any means. Do we care about anybody around us? No, we're looking for assets to cultivate by any means. Everybody know somebody like that? Okay. But our ego gives us identity in the world. Who am I? As I bounce my energy off the world, who am I? I am a third child. I am one that's good at math. I am good at sports. I'm the jokester. I'm the serious one. Do you see? Now, are any of those things true about your spirit? Your spirit doesn't care if you're the third child, or if you're good at math this lifetime. Your spirit doesn't care. Your spirit is greater than all of those ego identities. But when we pocket ourselves into those identities, how much can we grow? Not much, if you're always going to be the child of your parents. How many of you are still the child of your parents in your mind? Yeah, you can go to your grave being the child of your parent. Trying not too good, but you can literally take that with you and never let yourself become your true identity and who you are. I know I'm speaking to metaphysical minds, but you may know someone like that. All right. Ego is always concerned about what others think of us and what they should think of us. What do you think of me? No. This is what you should think of me. Because I need my ego structure identity to stay intact. Okay? Everybody with me? All right. So experiencing greatness, we're going to be great, we're going to be great, we're going to be awesome. Ego's going to go, okay now, let's figure this out. And it's going to harness that greatness and try to make it familiar to what it already knows. Been there. Okay. All right. So, greatness is tapping into spiritual resources, enjoying how the expression impacts the world around us. We can see the impact. We can ask, who am I in the world as a spiritual movement? But the minute we say, I am this in the world, and we let ego claim it, we've now boxed it in. Okay? I'm a minister. I am a minister. I claim that. That is a part of my greatness. Now I am standing in my greatness. Now, when I walk to the grocery store, do I go, I'm a minister? I need a discount? I'm a minister, you're having a bad day. We need to do a counseling session. I own this about myself as part of my greatness, but I don't impose it on an ego vibration to the world around me. Do you hear the difference? So we can own beautiful things about ourselves from our spiritual greatness. But when you own it, you own it. And we don't need the world to reflect it back to us. Because we know. Because you can put me in the middle of an arena of 50,000 people. Guess what I am? I'm still a minister. And I might be yelling for the team too. But I'm still a minister. That's experiencing herself as a fan. See? Okay. All right. You getting it? Yes. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Old Testament. Patrick, please. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to be playing in the Old Testament. Now, these are stories that we have inherited. Are they factual? Don't know. Do they happen in the chronological order presented? Don't know. We don't know anything. But they're good stories, they're fun stories. So I'm going to be using these stories as illustrations of us. So we can laugh at ourselves, play with it a little bit. So as I say this, the stories that I'm going to be using today is in Samuel. If you seriously are a scholar and you want to know more about what it really is about, please read this book called Let There Be Light by Dr. Rocco Errico. He explains the idioms, the exaggerations, the cultural nuances of the Semitic and Aramaic people. And it will explain things that you might be tripped up about. Excuse me. And once you're done with that, follow up with, and there was light. So that's your assignment if you want to delve into these stories from a more scholarly or metaphysical perspective. Because today, it's going to be about us. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. And that is your intro on the Bible for the rest of the month. That's where your go-to is. All right. I'm going to start with this beautiful story, and I have to stay on track with it, because I must speak fast. In the Old Testament, it's following the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, which will become known as the Jewish nation many thousands of years later. Well, maybe not many thousands, but at least 1,000 years later. So, the 12 tribes of Israel, and they are they organize themselves through judges. Judges from each tribe, they judge the people, they come together, they've got that organization, that's their structure. They are a world of judges. And so they're fussing and fighting, and they say, oh God, we want a king. We don't like these judges, they're not fair, give us a king, give us a king. And the prophet who's been guiding them all, his name is Sam. And Sam says, you don't want a king, peeps. And they said, we want a king, we want to be just like everybody else. And Sam goes, really, you don't want a king. He's the prophet, he's a seer, he's a psychic, he knows what's happening. They won't listen. So, here we have the story. God's talking to Sam, set him aside for a minute. So we have this young man named Saul. Saul is very tall, very good looking. And his dad has lost his donkeys. And so Saul's dad sends him out with a servant to go find the donkeys. Well, they cannot find those donkeys anywhere. They're traveling all over the place. And they go to this town, and the servant says to Saul, let's go see the seer. We need a psychic to tell us we need a Cindy to tell us where the donkeys are. So they say, there's a seer over here. So they go to Sam. They find Sam. And when Samuel sees Saul, he remembers what God told him the day before. God said to him, I'm going to bring the king that the people want. You will meet him tomorrow. He is of the tribe of Benjamin. You'll know him when you see him. Saul's there. Sam goes, what the heck? It's you. And he goes, and by the way, the donkeys are already home. Then he proceeds to take poor little Saul, young man that he is, take him in, feed him, and tell him God is going to use you to rule the tribes. You're going to be the king of Israel. And Saul is overcome. And he says to Sam, but I am of the smallest tribe of Benjamin. My family is the least of all the families. I am nobody, and you shouldn't be talking to me this way. Now, what do we have? We have this spiritual man, this beautiful seer, who sees this man who is the fulfillment of the prophecy. And the young man goes back into, I can't embody that. So what is happening in that moment? Is his ego not rising? That's his ego. His ego is making him weak. His ego is going, that's not who you are in the outer world, dude. I don't know what this dude's saying to you, but you are not that. So you better pull it back, and you better humble yourself. Do you realize your ego does that to you? We think it always pumps us up, but it also makes us weak and helpless. How am I in the outer world? And how many of you have come to a reading with Cindy or any other reader, and you come for one question, and you sit down, and that question's answered in the first 5 minutes. And then your reader says to you, and by the way, this is why you came. Spirit wants me to tell you this, and this, which had nothing to do with why you came. And you go, that's not what I want to hear. And your reader goes, that's okay, I'm recording it for you anyway. You'll hear it when you need it. And you walk out going, I don't want to know that. I know you've been there. Yeah, okay. All right, so in our story, we have this ego that's been pulled back. And then the seer says to him, Sam says, look, dude, hang with me here. You're going to go, and you're going to meet some people, and you're going to dance and prophesy with them. They're prophets. You're going to get in their energy, you're going to prophesy with them, and then you'll know what I say is true. Well, in that moment, it says that Saul was given a new heart. Sam was able to open this young man's vision of himself. And he could see himself as greater, but he still didn't know how it was going to work. So he became willing. And he left the next day, and who did he meet? Oh, do you guess? The group of prophets. And he danced with them, and he prophesied with them, and it was just amazing. And there it was, everything that Sam said happened. And there he was, and he was transformed, and he was living in this spiritual enlightenment. And he was amazed, and it was awesome. And he was elevated. And then he went home. And he went home, and he did what he always does. But Sam was on mission. Sam called all the tribes together. He said, we're time to do a king now. We need to find our king. See, Sam already has the king. But Sam's calling the tribes together. Well, Saul and his family went. And then Samuel cast lots, and the lot went to the tribe of Benjamin, the smallest of all tribes. And then the lot went to Saul's dad, the smallest of all families. And then the lot went to Saul. Saul was going to be king. And everybody said, "Where's Saul? Where's Saul?" He's hiding in the luggage. He's hiding in the luggage. He cannot fathom what is happening to him. His ego structure is not allowing him to embrace any of these ideas. Are y'all with me? Okay. So, how many of you have had those kind of enlightening moments? Let's say after a spiritual vacation when you go out here, there's and you come home. And then Spirit says, "Do something now greater," and you go, I don't know if I can. I'm going to go hide in the luggage. Every one of my students in psychic development, every one of my students in healing, they're fabulous during class. They're amazing. They're amazing. And when we bring the clients in and they're working, they're fabulous, but they're in the ambiance of the collective energy. It's beautiful, elevated energy. The minute they go out in the world and Spirit says, "Here's someone I want you to heal," guess what they start looking for? The luggage. I can't do this without I don't have my notes. I can't do this. You ask too much of me. Now I know.
We're like, "Where's Cindy?"
I know this about my classes, but you will do it in other ways. You will do it in other ways where you do not rally. All right, and several people have shared in their moments of doing Sunday services where they God-inspired. People saw the greatness in them and they would turn down a beautiful job or turn down an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? We do it all the time. We that great spirit, we do it all the time. Okay, take a breath. That was them. Ha ha ha. That's just Saul, that silly boy hiding in the luggage. Okay, great. All right, here we go. He goes home, and what does he do? Well, he's crowned king before he goes, but guess what? They've never had a king. There's no job description. Well, I don't know what that means. So he goes home, and he plows the field just like he's always plowed the field. And the universe creates, after a bit of time, an opportunity. Now, what he does not know, and what you do not know, is anytime greatness has been broken open within you, it will not be quiet. It's going to grow, whether you're paying attention or not. So he's plowing the field, paying no attention, doing what he does, and someone attacks part of the tribes. One of the tribes of Israel is attacked. And when that happens, who do they turn to? The king! He comes out of plowing his field, and people are crying. He goes, "What's up, man? We got attacked." And now the rubber meets the road. Now that beautiful greatness that was birthed within him and his ego have got to align. Am I going to step up or am I not? And he uses anger as his motivation, but he steps up and he calls the tribes together and he goes, "Guys, we got to go take care of this. Everybody get on board." And they did. It was beautiful. They all got on board. They went and they were successful in achieving victory in that moment of protection. Oh my, what happens now? Ego got a taste of what it's like to be seen as great in the world. Yeah, let's have another battle. That'd be good. Let's do more. Let's claim our space stronger. And so he becomes a little bit enthusiastic. It's not good enough now to go and plow the fields any longer. He creates an army. They never had an army before. Just in case. Creates an army. So, he creates an army, and he knows his vision of greatness is now being accepted by the ego. But who's sculpting that vision of greatness? Because the ego sees, they're looking at me, we're doing good here. Ego sees that, right? Okay. All right. So here's the thing, very quickly. Sam, our seer, had told Saul, "You're going to go before me to Gilgal. you will wait there 7 days. And when I get there, we're going to offer sacrifices to God, and then you can go into battle. Now he knew this, Saul, very clear instructions, because they're getting ready to do the final assault. He goes to Gilgal with the armies. Days pass. It's getting to the 7th day, and some of his soldiers start deserting him. It's the 7th day, and Sam hasn't shown up to do the sacrifice. The seer, the prophet, the priest, the high priest of all of the Israel tribes has not shown up. It's the 7th day. People are deserting me. What do you think Saul does? Bring me that bullock. I will do the sacrifice. It's the end of the 7th day. I will do it. He sacrifices the bullock to God, which is only allowed to do by a priest. A priest is the only one who is allowed to do it. As he's sacrificing it, who walks over the top of the hill? Sam. Sam goes, what are you doing? That's my job. What are you doing? Well, you weren't here. People were deserting me. I had to do something. I know you've seen someone take ego into their own hands. Take spirit into their own hands, I should say. Takes the situation into their hands because ego is responding in fear or stress and not trusting spirit. I mean, if you're going to do it, at least wait till day 8. Don't do it on the day. Maybe day 10. Do you hear what I'm saying? All right, the story of Saul is the story of us all. And I'm not finished with him yet, but how we are opened, Spirit opens us to this greatness. It takes us a while to integrate it because we want to hide from it. We want to hide from it because it's going to change who we are in the world, and we know it. And then when we finally accept it, did it change who he was in the world? Night and day. Now he's king of everything? Wait a minute. Now I've got to be bold, greater, and commanding. Boom, 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 boom. Now Spirit's not in charge anymore. His ego is in charge. All right. Samuel represented Spirit to him, but he took matters into his own hands. This is the funny part. So after he did all this, right, he does the sacrifice, Sam goes, what the heck? I mean, it would be like if I'm 5 minutes late and a visitor came up and said, I'm doing your Sunday service this morning. I'd probably come in and say, what the heck? Take your seat. So, and then Saul says what every one of us says. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But you don't understand. I'm so sorry. Okay, but would you still stand behind me and get my back in front of all the people? He actually asks Samuel to stand behind him and support him in front of the eyes of the people. I don't know that I would have, but Sam did. He said, okay, we'll give you one more chance. Don't do this crap again. Okay? I know you've done that. That was so funny when you did it. Okay. All right. I wanted to share a story with you, and I think that in this story you might see yourself a little bit. Ready? Okay. Because our dealings with egos are very delicate. Because we're doing good. We're doing good. A lot of what we do based on ego has really good intentions underneath it. Right? But anyway. So here's the story. Many years ago, and if I get the details wrong, forgive me. But many years ago, I was teaching a Psychic Development 2 class. And in the Psychic Development 2 class, one of the evenings I teach them how to find missing people. And so I will work with Spirit, and I'll go on the website, and I'll gather pictures that God has asked us to work with. And I'll pull their sheets on who's missing. But I'll cut their little pictures out, and that's all my students see. They don't see anything else. So I'll put their little pictures in a little basket face down, and then the students will draw, without knowing who they're drawing, a picture. And I teach them how to connect with their spirit, to talk to them, to see what's happening. Are they alive? Are they dead? What's going on? Okay? So one class, one of my students got the picture of a little boy, maybe 3 or 4, 5. He was little. And she read him, and of course she knew nothing about him. And during sharing time, she shared that he had been lost in a state park, which is true. The state he was in, which was true. What happened to him, where his body was, the little red blanket, I think, that was on top of him, how he was covered. The little boy was dead, but he was telling her, please, it was an accident, and he was sharing his love for his mom and how he wanted everything to be okay. And everything that I saw on the tear sheet, she had in her notes to the location. And then she had everything beyond that. Now, this was a girl who had lost a son right before he turned 2, I believe. So the love of her heart, her family, her history, and then this mother and this baby and this loss. Can you see the physical human connection that's going on here? And it was beautiful and it was extremely accurate. And we did the whole class, and so I called her, I think it was the next day, and I said, you've got a trip planned, don't you? And she said, I do. She said, I've been on the internet and I've mapped it out. I'm going to go. She was going to go find that little baby. She wasn't going to not act on that information. And I said, you need to talk to God. She goes, I know. Ask Spirit what you should do. Because maybe it was just for you. And she did, and she got specifically, wait until the next rain. They should find his body after the next rain. So she checked the weather forecast, and I think it was due to rain that weekend in 2 or 3 days. And guess what? It rained. And guess what? They found his body. I share this with you because this is how we have to yield to Spirit. When our intentions are so good and, oh my goodness, to be that on, how could I be that on and not do anything with this information? But she did do something with it. She sent love to the mother. She sent love to the father. She sent love to the baby, love to the family. The whole family, from the moment that she touched them, was being engulfed in love. She sent prayers for the baby's body to be found so that the healing can occur with the whole family. Do you hear what I'm saying? And she was on the ready. Ego and Spirit, she was on the ready to make that trek. And she would have done it. Just like that. No hesitation. And she would have found it. But she had to wait. And don't you think after the first rain, what would have, if they hadn't found the body, what would have happened? She would have gone. This is how beautifully our egos have to work with our spirits. Do you understand? And I will tell you, right after that occurrence, when she was asked to do things, Kirsten still might have looked for the luggage to hide in. But today, she doesn't even know where the luggage is kept. When Spirit opens us up, it's so complete. It's so revealing to us. And then our world just collapses it back down. That's not yours to do. Collapses it back down, but it grows and it stays and it grows and it stays. And the Spirit will bring another opportunity to you. In sharing this, I hope you saw ego and Spirit working in harmony. Say I did? I did. And in sharing it, you can see how you get tripped up on your ego and Spirit working in harmony. All right. Okay. To stay with Spirit, ego has to submit. We have to submit to the divine plan. Your ego does not know the plan. Your ego does not know the plan. It only knows what it sees. It doesn't know what Spirit has for you. Your greatness. All right? So here's the process. Clear sheet of paper in your mind, please. Spirit creates a situation where you have to do something differently. Do something different. Something different. Somewhere in the process, Spirit opens a vision of you that is new, and you get a new heart. That means you get the capacity, the capability to do what's going to be asked of you. It's not just dream. You get a new heart. Spirit then guides you, and the heart works. You go, this is working. This is amazing. I love this. Spirit guides you. Then Spirit asks you to stand up. At this point, most of you will go to the luggage. Seriously. And the fun thing about this number 4 is the universe is going to keep asking you to stand up. Can you stand up today? No, not yet. Okay, tomorrow? Not yet. A year from now, hey, you ready to stand up now? Because the greatness has already been birthed within you. The vision is in you. Your heart is in you. You have the capacity. Are you going to stand up today? Nope, luggage. Great. One day you're going to say yes. Just know that right now. Say, I'm going to say yes. Yes. Okay, some of you didn't say it. It's okay. All right. When you decide to stand up, Spirit will be there. And then you have to submit. You are not submitting to do it on your own. You're submitting to do it with God. With God love moving through you. To find that greatness. If you ever think you've got it or you know it all, where are you operating from? Ego. You're past. Even if you know how to make the best cookies in the world, if you go into the kitchen thinking, I got it, they're not going to even be better. But if you go in the kitchen saying, use me, what I got, and let's bring on some more. There are no limits. Yes, to cookies. There are no limits to cookies. All right. So we are always, all of us, on this beautiful soul journey. And I will tell you the end of his story. You will say to me, is there a happy ending, as in Kristen's, where she survived and triumphed and now stands forth as a channel of God's love in all things? No, there's not. When I teach the Old Testament, Saul is my ego run amok, and he is the analysis of the 7 stages of ego development, which I won't put you through. However, he got the second chance with Samuel, and did he rally? No, he failed. So at that point, Samuel turned away from him and said, I cannot deal with you. You will not do what God asked you to do. I cannot deal with you. And he went and anointed David king of the 12 tribes. So now we have an issue going up with David's now king, Saul's king. What's happening? We don't know. Big problems. But Saul in his infinite wisdom then, as king, made a law. And guess what he outlawed? Seers. There shall be no more psychics in my realm. Boom. They shall be killed. So he outlaws them. He outlaws them for the rest of his reign, which was about 40 years. At the end of his reign, he goes to a private seer who hides under the radar, and he says, I need you to see for me. She goes, no, it's against law, I won't do it. He goes, no, I need you to. She goes, no. She didn't know who he was. So she goes into trance, she goes, it's you, Saul. And he goes, yeah. I need to talk to Samuel. Samuel, remember Samuel, the prophet who's now on the other side? Sam comes forward and Saul goes, Sam, what's going to happen? I'm getting ready to go to battle. And Sam goes, why are you bothering me? What is your problem? You're going to die. Get over it. And that's pretty much the exchange, and I did not embellish. And he dies in the next battle. So he is ego run amok. He never does find that balance back with spirit. He started as a beautiful, intuitive being of light, ready to have the new heart. Do you think he's going to do better in his next lifetime? Yes. Yes, of course he will. And at this point in time, it's 3,000 years later, he's probably a Christed being of light somewhere. Let's hope. So, it's a journey. It's a journey. Once it's awakened within, it will happen. All right, so let's do a quick centering. Say, I love this stuff. All right, put your feet on the floor and see a beautiful column of light come over you. And just feel the presence of God moving through you. And imagine for just a moment that you can just go into a sacred space in your heart. Just imagine you can go into a beautiful energy of just light. And on the left, feel your spiritual nature. Just feel the color. You don't have to get details this time. And on the right, feel your ego nature. And I want you to, because you have the conscious mind, you are the creator, ask for the two to walk to the center. And let the ego feel the vibration of the spirit. And let the spirit fill the ego with love. Father, Mother God, in this moment as we align at least the edges of these two aspects of being. Father, Mother God, I ask that we begin to feel the greatness and the harmony that needs to occur in our world. The greatness and the harmony. And feel the love of God coming and surrounding your spiritual nature and your ego presence, just surrounding it with light. And let whatever transformation needs to occur within you. There is no right or wrong formula. Just let God love engulf it. You may not even see what happens. But in your mind, in your heart, say, Father, Mother God, I surrender to you. I surrender to your love for me. Breathe it into the cells of your body. Give that ego and spiritual nature to spirit for a minute. Just lift it up, the column of light. You'll have it back when you need it. I am ready to be love. Take a breath, send that out into your energy field. I am ready to be love. And we thank you, God, for life. And so it is. All right, gently open your eyes. We all want to be used as channels of healing love, yes?
Yes.
And that means we need to accept that we are channels of healing love. So, as we embrace our greatness this month, this week, pretty guaranteed you will face your ego. Pretty guaranteed that will happen. Let your spiritual heart guide that encounter. Now say, yay, God.
Yay, God.